What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from AnimeUproar, and on the videos about the Yonko, the Warlords, and the Marines, I've been getting a lot of requests to do a video about the worst generation, and here it is. If you enjoy these One Piece videos and want to keep them coming, best thing you can do is smash that like button and share this video with a friend. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell or you will miss future One Piece videos. I've already set up a playlist of One Piece videos that you can check out. I do make videos that you guys request, so drop a suggestion in the comments and it may be the next One Piece video you see. Before we jump into it, I want to give a quick thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. With YouTube ad rates plummeting as a result of the global health crisis, sponsors like Raid provide independent channels like this one with much needed support, and we really appreciate it. Raid Shadow Legends is a turn-based RPG that I have been personally playing for over a year, and I find it to be an extremely fun way to pass the time, especially now that so many of us have a lot of extra time on our hands. Raid Shadow Legends is free to play, and you can now play on both mobile and PC. I love the action and strategy in this game, and the daily login rewards program has just been doubled from 90 to 180 days. Every day you log in, you can claim new free rewards, everything from energy refills to free silver and gems. And now you can even claim a free barbarian legendary champion, Sill of the Drakes. Try it out for yourself for free. Just click the link in the description. If you're new to the game, you can now claim an extra 200k in silver and a free champion Grinner. Just look at this absolute mad lad. If you start playing within the next 30 days, you will find your extra rewards here in your inbox. Just click the link in the description to get started. There will be manga spoilers in this video, you've been warned. Now without further ado, let's jump into it. Brownbeard explains the worst generation to us. He says that the entire group that was at Sabaody Archipelago 2 years ago is known to the world as the worst generation, meaning the 11 supernovas that we'll get into and the Yonko Blackbeard. They are known as problem children born in the gap between the end of one age and the beginning of another, fated to bring chaos wherever they go. After the war at Marineford, the worst generation spilled into the New World, wreaking havoc everywhere they went. Brownbeard says that at the center of every shocking incident or calamity, you'll find one of the worst generation pirates. That's a mighty epic introduction to these super rookies, and it definitely hyped me up the first time I read it. The 11 supernovas all come from 9 rookie crews. Every pirate captain is included, along with 2 non-captains, namely Killer and Zoro, who also have bounties over 100 million berries. Currently, the 12 members of the worst generation collectively have a bounty of at least 6,727,600,000. That's more than even the king of the pirates Gold D. Roger had when he was alive, which gives you a sense of how much of a threat these super rookies pose. Big News Morgans even said that in the near future, one of the worst generation will become the next pirate king. So now that you're hopefully hyped up about the group as a whole, let's start looking at the supernovas individually. Keep in mind, since I covered Blackbeard in my All 5 Emperors Explained video and in my All 11 Warlords Explained video, I'll just be talking about the 11 supernovas here. Check out those other videos if you want to see a breakdown of Blackbeard specifically. First up, let's look at the currently 23-year-old Eustass Kid, aka Captain Kid, the captain of the Kid Pirates. Kid had an even higher bounty than Luffy did at Sabaody. His old bounty was 315 million berries, and his current one is 470 million berries. Kid is much more of a bad boy than Luffy, and we're told that the reason his bounty was initially higher is because his crew slaughters and pillages innocent people. He's one of the most fearless guys you'll meet. He destroyed 2 ships that belonged to Big Mom's allies, and according to him, injured one of her sweet commanders, while taking what he meant to take. Before that, says Kid, he lost his arm in a battle against the Red Hair Pirates, aka Shanks' crew. He got beaten up and captured by Kaido like Luffy did. However, like Luffy, he wasn't scared off. He's now formed an alliance with Luffy and Law, and they're going to attack Kaido, who's currently allied with Big Mom. So yeah, this dude has already clashed with 3 Yonko in one way or another, and he keeps coming back for more. You gotta respect that. He possesses a devil fruit that has not been named, but it seems to be associated with magnetism. He can attract and repel metallic objects, including swords and rifles. He's able to repel a cannonball and send it back at the shooter. He also uses this ability to create a giant metal arm that he can use in battle. The drawback is that if there aren't any metallic objects around, then Captain Kid's powers wouldn't be very useful. However, it's uncommon to come across opponents who don't carry around some sort of weapon that Kid can make use of. and even if his surroundings don't include any metallic materials, he can always use his powers in conjunction with the weapons he carries, which include a pistol and a dagger, and his mechanical arm. Kid is the only known member of the worst generation besides Luffy, who's a confirmed Conqueror's Haki user. It stands to reason that he should be able to use the other more common forms of Haki as well, including Observation Haki and Armament Haki. Next, let's look at Captain Kid's crewmate, the 27-year-old Killer. His post-time skip bounty is 200 million berries. Killer was much more calm and level-headed before the Wano arc. He was often contrasted to his much more impulsive captain. However, he was fed a defective smile fruit by the Beast Pirates. As a result, he didn't gain any cool animal powers, but rather just smiles and laughs uncontrollably, even when he wants to cry. According to Kid, Killer used to hate the way he laughed. When someone made fun of him for his laugh, he would beat them half to death. That's why he ended up covering his face with a mask. However, the defective smile fruit changed him. For a while, he worked as an assassin for Orochi and was known as Kamazo the Manslayer, but he was discarded after he failed to kill Toko. When Captain Kid escaped from jail, he took Killer with him so he might be present in the fight against Kaido. In the past, Killer cut through Marines with no problem, and his power must be great because he managed to get such a high bounty without being a captain and without having Devil Fruit powers. He can still fight, but he did lose to Zoro and Wano. He usually fights with scythe-like weapons and blades. Pre-time skip, he fought with rotating scythe blades that were attached to his forearms. Against Zoro, he used regular scythes. It really does speak to both Killer's and Zoro's strength that the two were able to become supernovas without being captains and without having Devil Fruit powers, since everyone else on this list, as we'll see, is a pirate captain and has Devil Fruit powers. Next, let's look at the Big Eater, Jewelry Bonney, who is currently estimated to be 24 years old. She is the captain of the Bonney Pirates and the only female on this list. Her last given bounty was 140 million berries. She eats like Luffy and she's a waifu candidate to boot. And although she can be rude at restaurants, she does have common sense. She was nice enough to stop Zoro from hurting a world noble, which could have caused a lot of trouble for our favorite swordsman. However, she had personal motives as well because as a pirate, she didn't want an admiral to show up. In her view, a pirate shouldn't help people just to help them. Despite Bonney's best efforts, Luffy ended up punching the world noble in the face, so we kind of ended up in the same place. Clearly, Bonney is more cautious than Luffy and Zoro. She sees Zoro as an idiot and Luffy as an even bigger idiot, and promises that she'll kick their butts if she ever sees them in the new world. Obviously she couldn't, but it's the thought that counts. Later, Bonney gets caught by Blackbeard. Strength-wise, Blackbeard calls her a weakling, but he recognizes her waifu potential and asks her to be his woman. She responds by hitting him and calling him a bearded swine. When Akainu shows up, Blackbeard and his men leave. Akainu tells Bonney that a cold shiver ran through his spine when he heard she ran away from the government. We're not sure yet what he meant by his mysterious words, whether she was just a special prisoner or whether she was actually a marine or some important world government official. Now let's talk about her Devil Fruit. It appears to be a paramecia fruit that lets her manipulate her own age or other people's age. In other words, she can turn her enemies into harmless toddlers or into elders. Because of her ability, we also can't be completely sure about how old she is. Even though she appears to be 24, she could potentially be much older. Interestingly enough, as an old lady, she appeared at the Reverie as Queen Dowager of Sorbet Kingdom. She cries when she sees Kuma, who is the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, being used and mistreated as a mindless slave by the world nobles. So she clearly has a significant connection to Kuma and might truly be related to Sorbet Kingdom royalty. Next, we have the currently 31-year-old Scratchmen Apoo, aka Roar of the Sea. He's a music-themed pirate, and his crew is called the On-Air Pirates. He went from a bounty of 198 million to a bounty of 350 million. During the time skip, he started working for the Yonko Kaido. He's a deceitful guy and he feigned cooperation with Kid and Hawkins when he was actually planning to turn them over to Kaido. Apoo has a music-based Devil Fruit that lets him turn his body parts into instruments. He can then create music using his piano teeth, arm saxophone, and entrancing rap voice. The music creates sound waves that can injure his opponents. His music cuts Kizaru and then causes him to explode, although the Admiral recovers using his Logia powers. The Admiral overpowers Apoo easily enough, but Apoo survives the encounter. We haven't seen him use his powers a lot, but he's clearly a force to be reckoned with, since he has such a high bounty along with Beast Pirate support. Next, let's look at the 47-year-old Urouge, the Mad Monk. He is a pirate from Sky Island, and he is the captain of the Fallen Monk Pirates. Before the time skip, we know that he had a bounty of 108 million berries, but it should definitely be higher now. In fact, he beat one of Big Mom's sweet commanders, Charlotte Snack, who had a bounty of 600 million. He did, however, lose to Sweet Commander Charlotte Cracker, who has a bounty of 860 million, but he managed to survive and escape. Urouge did way better than I expected him to. You clearly can't always trust bounties because Urouge had the lowest one from the worst generation, but he obviously did amazingly well despite that. His Devil Fruit power is awesome too, it converts damage into strength. His body and muscles grow and his attacks become much stronger. He was able to punch around a Pacifista pre-time skip. At that time, he was no match for Admiral Kizaru combined with the Pacifista's lasers, but we have every reason to believe that he's gotten stronger over the past 2 years, just like Luffy and the Straw Hats did. Urouge's enhanced revenge counter punches are called Karmic Punishment in the Viz manga, which is a pretty dope attack name, not gonna lie. The other epic thing about him is that his weapon of choice seems to be a giant frickin' pillar. This guy's strong AF, and I look forward to seeing more of him in the future. Don't sleep on Urouge. Let's look at the currently 33-year-old Red Flag X Drake next. His bounty was 222 million berries before the time skip. Drake is a former Rear Admiral of the Marines and current captain of the Drake Pirates. Drake is associated with the Beast Pirates and is one of the Flying Six, aka one of the 6 strongest headliners in Kaido's crew. Secretly, it seems like he's still working for the Marines as captain of the top secret special force called Sword. We can see Oda's love of history coming into play here. The historic Sir Francis Drake was a privateer. He was a hero and vice admiral for England, but also a pirate in the view of the Spanish. It seems like X-Drake is similarly loyal to his government even as he acts like a pirate. Because Drake knows so much about the Marines and can potentially get help from the Marines when he needs it, he's all the more of a big player in the world of One Piece. He fights with a sword in one hand and a 4-sided axe in the other, and I didn't even know 4-sided axes existed. He can easily stop a fight between 2 different supernovas like Urouge and Killer. Let's get to his oh so interesting Devil Fruit. He ate the Ryu no Mi model Allosaurus. It's an ancient zone type fruit that lets him transform into a dinosaur, an Allosaurus to be specific. These dinosaurs were carnivorous and at the top of their food chain. They picked on those other vegetarian dinosaurs. An Allosaurus could reach a length of 39 feet. In his dinosaur form, Drake can make a Pacifista bleed, which is impressive since they're made out of a material stronger than steel. He can also turn into a hybrid form like most zone users. This half-human, half-dinosaur form looks pretty epic, I must say. Drake can use Haki, which allowed him to easily defeat the Logia user Caribou. Next, let's look at the current 31-year-old Basil Hawkins. He's a magician and fortune teller with a bounty of 320 million berries. He's the captain of the Hawkins Pirates, and he decided to join Kaido when he was betrayed by Apoo. He's currently one of the headliners. His predictions seem to be accurate enough since he knew that he and the other supernovas would survive the confrontation with Admiral Kizaru, something that was definitely not self-evident. He ate the Wara no Mi, aka the straw fruit. He is able to create and control straw. It's ironic that he'd use his straw powers to fight the Straw Hats of all people, but he does. He can create scarecrows to fight for him. He can also use voodoo powers so that the damage he and his straw creations take can be redirected to another person, usually his own men. He can use his sword that he uses in conjunction with his straw powers to create a straw man that is a stand-in for the lives of his followers. As he explains it, Hawkins infuses his body with the spirits of his subordinates by using his straw powers so that no damage reaches him. Thus, he and his creations can die many times and recover like nothing happened. His straw creations can fire nails at opponents, and Zoro can't even avoid them all. Hawkins has cards that he draws and they impact the battle. They can work for him or against him. One card might make his own men fight each other, while another can enhance the power of his straw man. He is definitely a skilled fighter. When Luffy and Zoro end up clashing with him in Wano, they manage to escape after a while, but easily taking down Hawkins is not an option. Later, Law clashes with Hawkins for a bit, but also doesn't beat him before Luffy and Zoro scoop him up. Even later though, an imprisoned and handcuffed Law somehow manages to get free and get the upper hand on Hawkins. It is then that Hawkins reveals that he joined Kaido because he had a 0% chance of beating him or escaping from him. How exactly Law escaped if he had sea stone handcuffs on is unclear, but it seems like he got help from someone. We did see X Drake right before the planned interrogation, so it might even be possible that he secretly intervened to help Law. We'll have to wait and see who helped him and why. Law goes on to spare the life of Hawkins, so Hawkins is a wild card right now, pun intended. He might stay loyal to Kaido, run away, or even somehow try to help his fellow Supernovas, since he clearly only joined Kaido because he was forced to in the first place. Next, let's talk about the now 42-year-old Capone Bege. He's a mafia don turned pirate, and his most recently revealed bounty is 350 million berries, even higher than Zoro's bounty and Hawkins' bounty. He's the captain of the Fire Tank Pirates. During the time skip, Capone married Charlotte Chiffon, had a son, and began working under Yonko Big Mom. However, with Luffy, he tries to kill Big Mom. They fail, and the Pirate Dawn understandably becomes an enemy of Big Mom and her crew. Capone is a tactical genius, and uses more brains than bronze to get what he wants. He's also very Machiavellian, and willing to lie and cheat in order to carry out his plan. His failure to assassinate Big Mom was the first time one of his assassination plans failed. Since he's 42 years old, that's still a pretty long track record of winning. And even after this failure, he managed to escape with his people. His aim is amazing. He succeeds in hitting Charlotte Oven, who's on the shore, from a ship in the sea. But not just that, he hits him in the face while avoiding his wife, whom Oven has taken hostage. Now let's get into his interesting and unique devil fruit powers. Capone ate the Shiroshiro no Mi, aka the Castle fruit. This fruit lets him have a dimensional fortress inside his body. He can fit many subordinates in there and even cannons. He can open tiny drawbridges on his body, and then his subordinates can use them to fire cannons at the opponents around him. Once they get a certain length away from Capone's body, the objects revert to normal size. Thus, cannonballs will revert back to normal size and cause as much damage as if someone launched an actual cannonball at you from close range. So Capone has the benefit of surprise and an insane amount of firepower available wherever, whenever. He can also chill inside his own dimensional fortress body and hold private meetings with others in it while his normal body remains in place unmoved. As if that wasn't good enough, he can also turn into a giant castle with superior defenses. Then he can control the castle's parts and weapons as if he were a giant mecha. I, like Luffy and Chopper, think this is extremely cool. He's used many different types of weapons, like a pistol, Tommy gun, and even the KX launcher invented by Caesar Clown. He also possesses a sea stone spear that he can use against other Devil Fruit users. Clearly, his intelligence, preparation, and versatile Devil Fruit powers make him worthy of being a worst generation pirate. Next, let's look at the 26-year-old Trafalgar D Law, aka the Surgeon of Death. He's the captain and doctor of the Heart Pirates and a very cool dude with a very high bounty. His bounty is currently 500 million berries. Among the Supernovas, his bounty is only second to Luffy's. He even became a warlord during the time skip, but it was revoked when he teamed up with Luffy and helped him take down Doflamingo. He possesses the Ope Ope no Mi, aka the Op fruit. He can create a sphere around him, and as Smoker points out, everyone inside the sphere is a helpless patient on Law's operating table. He reigns supreme within that space and is able to spatially manipulate what's in it. In the space, he can do stuff like effortlessly split ships in half, split people in half, stop bullets, take people's hearts, and so on. He has telekinetic-like powers that let him move objects or teleport them by switching the locations of different objects with each other. He can also create electrical surges like a defibrillator, and those shocks can be strong enough to take down opponents. The Op Fruit user can perform a personality switching surgery which allows him to swap people's souls. And in the hands of a skilled enough user, the fruit can apparently give eternal life through the immortality operation. The user would lose their life though after giving someone else eternal life. Because of this, it's been called the ultimate devil fruit. After the time skip, Law's ability covers a much larger area, suggesting that the area of his matrix room will continue to grow as he matures. The fruit is perfect for a doctor since it can be used to cure illnesses. It can practically extract anything from the human body, and Law used it to cure himself of the amber lead poisoning inside his body, which was originally supposed to kill him by the age of 13. In addition to his awesome devil fruit, Law is a skilled swordsman, and he often uses uses his sword in conjunction with his Devil Fruit powers. He also possesses Armament Haki and Observation Haki. Now we finally come to our Straw Hat Supernovas. Let's start with our 21-year-old pirate hunter Zoro. His bounty is currently 320 million berries. He has a higher bounty than multiple worst generation pirate captains. And those pirate captains have Devil Fruit powers while Zoro doesn't. As we know, his goal is to be the greatest swordsman in the world. He's also known for his unique three-sword style, where he holds a third sword with his mouth. Zoro has gotten a lot stronger over the course of the story, and especially after the time skip. During the time skip, he trained with the current strongest swordsman in the world, Mihawk. At this point, he can cut through giant ships with ease, he can cut through pacifistas, which are harder than steel, and he can even use Haki to beat Logia users like Monet. And although Sanji's new bounty of 330 million berries surpassed Zoro's, I don't think Sanji will ever surpass Zoro in strength. After all, Zoro is arguably the character that we've seen training the most over the years, and he wants to be the greatest swordsman, while Sanji's end goal is more associated with cooking rather than fighting. Zoro is without a doubt one of the characters that's inspired me the most over the years. His level of endurance, bravery, and manliness is incredible. He willingly chose to absorb all of the pain and fatigue that Luffy had accumulated during the Thriller Bark arc in order to save him. Kuma told him that since Zoro was already close to death before absorbing the pain, taking in Luffy's pain would kill him. But Zoro did it anyways. Not only did Zoro survive, he even stayed conscious long enough to tell a worried Sanji that nothing happened. As far as epic role models go, it doesn't get any better than Zoro. Lastly, we have the 19-year-old Luffy, the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. His current bounty is the highest of all supernovas at 1.5 billion berries. Although I think it was a premature call, Luffy's accomplishments led to the newspapers dubbing him the 5th Emperor of the Sea. Usually, Yonko can clash on relatively equal ground with each other, as we saw when Shanks and Whitebeard clashed and when Big Mom and Kaido clashed. Both times the heavens split open and all fighters were fine. However, Kaido completely wrecked Luffy during their first encounter. After the Wano War though, Luffy might deserve to be called an emperor. We'll have to wait and see. Along with him, Luffy's crew has many formidable members with high bounties like Jinbei, who has a bounty of 438 million. Jinbei's bounty is significantly higher than the bounties of most supernovas. Luffy is also the head of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, which includes 5,600 people in total. Luffy himself has also upset the balance of the three great world powers, the Yonko, the Warlords, and the Marines, by beating three warlords, namely Crocodile, Moria, and Doflamingo. Ex-Warlord Jinbei has joined his crew, and ex-Warlord Law allied with him. As of now, the system of warlords has been disbanded altogether. Luffy's dad is Revolutionary Army leader Monkey D. Dragon, who's considered to be the world's worst criminal, and Luffy's close friend is Yonko Shanks, the man who stopped the Paramount War. This list of Luffy's impressive connections goes on, but I think you get the idea. Luffy is connected to a lot of extremely strong people, and he's extremely strong himself. Notably, Luffy was strong enough to bring down Katakuri, the sweet commander with the highest bounty over 1 billion berries. As we know, now Luffy is working on taking down the Yonko themselves. Let's look at Luffy's Devil Fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, aka the Gum Gum Fruit. The fruit turns Luffy into a rubber man. He is able to stretch, turn into a bouncy balloon, and significantly neutralize the power of blunt attacks. He often uses his rubber qualities in battle to enhance his offensive and defensive abilities. Then there are Luffy's gear forms. Second gear takes advantage of Luffy's rubber blood vessels, expanding them and allowing more oxygen and nutrients to be pumped throughout his body. His skin turns pink and his speed and attack is drastically increased. After the time skip, he can use this ability with select body parts and the side effects have been reduced. Third gear takes advantage of Luffy's ability to inflate his bones. For example, he can use his ability to make his arm huge, which drastically increases his attack power even when compared to second gear. As with second gear, the side effects have been reduced, while third gear's effectiveness has increased thanks to Luffy's use of Armament Haki. Fourth gear was created during the time skip. Luffy blows into his body, making his upper body muscles much more pronounced. The ability relies on Haki since Luffy covers his body with Armament Haki. This gear increases his attack, defense, and speed significantly. There are different versions of it, like Bounce Man, Tank Man, and Snake Man. Tank Man is much bigger and increases defense, while Snake Man is much thinner and prioritizes speed and offense. Since Gear 4 is so powerful, it makes sense that there are side effects. Luffy can only maintain Gear 4 for around 20 minutes. After that, he is unable to use any Haki for around 10 minutes because he needs to wait for it to recharge. Understandably, using Gear 4 a lot can have a huge toll on Luffy's body. Luffy is also one of the few people who can use Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror Haki users are said to possess the qualities of a king and can exert their own willpower over others. As we've seen, Luffy can use this ability to defeat a huge number of weaker-willed people without even fighting them physically. He also possesses the mysterious D in his name, and as we know, characters with D in their names, like Pirate King Gold D. Roger, are usually powerful individuals who are often considered to be an extreme threat to celestial dragons and their world order. And that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This video took quite a long time to finish, so if you did enjoy, I'd appreciate if you could drop a like and share this video with a friend. It would mean a lot. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell or you will miss future One Piece videos. We already have videos on the Yonko, Warlords, Admirals, and now Supernovas, so let me know what video you would like to see next in the comments. Thanks again, and until next time, see you, Space Cowboy.